I am doing laundry on the ship in Hong Kong, and my drawing professor is there in the laundry room with me, and we get to talking. Turns out that he is a photographer who was doing stock photography. And I was like, hold your horses. What? You can be a professional photographer?
Welcome to Zestful Aging, where I speak with change makers from all over the world who are contributing to the common good. Contributing to the common good in even the smallest of ways is proven to help us age with vitality and deep contentment. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, psychotherapist and fellow Zestful Ager. My goal is to share optimism about aging and introduce you to guests who will inspire you to live with zest. To find out more about the podcast, hop on over to zestfulaging.com. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly email newsletter, The Insider, where you will get behind-the-scenes looks at our guests and other fun tidbits. And if you love the podcast, I'd be grateful if you shared it with your friends. Our music is courtesy of Judy Banker, a previous guest on the show. Find out more at judybanker.com. And our technical director is Stephen Litweiler. Well, like many professional photographers, Alice Patterson originally photographed everything from musicians to weddings to pets and brand photography. But she felt scattered and unhappy and knew she wanted a new way to work. So at 52, she developed her own unique business model. Growing this business has given Alice the freedom to travel, have reliable income, and creative control she'd been wanting for many years. Welcome to the show, Alice.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I'm so happy to be here.
I know you have a lot of great stories about how your career developed and how you've taken it to a very new place. Tell us a little bit about sort of the career trajectory, like when you decided to become a photographer.
All right. Well, it's 30 years in the making. But actually, it's kind of a funny story. When I was in college, I went on a trip called Semester at Sea. And this was a trip that was on sort of a scaled down cruise ship. And there was 400 students and professors from all over the country, some of the best schools. And I was and you go around the world, you take college level classes. I am doing laundry on the ship in Hong Kong, and my drawing professor is there in the laundry room with me, and we get to talking. Turns out that he is a photographer who was doing stock photography. And I was like, hold your horses. What? You can be a professional photographer? Because I was that kid in high school, was on the yearbook. I was the one that was taking the photos at the parties of all of our friends.
You always had an affinity for it.
Yeah, I had started my photography, very at a young age. But my parents had always kind of pushed me towards the academics. And so it hadn't even crossed my mind that that was a possibility. So this professor told me about a photography school out in Santa Barbara, and that was pretty much all I needed to hear. I got home from the trip and went to my parents and was like, I know I've only got one more year of college, but I really want to go out to California. I know that this is what I want to do, and was privileged enough to be able to change course. So I left my college that I was in Pittsburgh and moved out to Santa Barbara, went to a photography school called Brooks Institute of Photography.
So they went along with it. Was there a lot of back and forth, or how did
my dad was a radiologist, but he was an excellent, hobby photographer. We traveled and moved. He had been drafted in the military during Vietnam, and so we moved all the time. And so we traveled, and he was always the one taking pictures. back then. So I think in some ways I was kind of fulfilling, a secret fantasy for him
I see.
to study photography. So it didn't, I was fortunate in that they were supportive.
I see. So you went out to Santa Barbara, and was it like you had imagined?
It was even better than I could have imagined.
Oh my goodness.
I was literally that person that made this. I hadn't gone out to the school before. I just, mailed in my application and drove out there, and that was it. And number one, Santa Barbara is like one of the most beautiful places on earth. Coming from Pennsylvania, it just took one winter there, and I was like, I'm never leaving California. Yeah, and the photography school, it was primarily photographers, and there was also a cinematography department. So that was it. Everybody in the school was all about photography. So I just made incredible lifelong friends there. The instructors were amazing, and I just kind of, like I said, never looked back from that decision.
Well, that's that. I mean, right there to start off with, to say, hey, I know I'm almost done with my undergrad, but I'm going to, switch tracks.
Yeah.
Is a bit of a risk, and I think took some courage.
Yeah. I was pretty fearless back when I was younger. But I also think having my family support, was a big privilege that I had. I think part of my fearlessness came from was feeling like I always had a safe place to land if I did kind of fall on my tush.
That really helps. Really helps. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you went into a traditional kind of career trajectory for a photographer?
Yeah, so it's really, I got a commercial photography degree, and I felt like I needed to move to a big city from Santa Barbara. There was, lots of photographers that stayed in the area after school, and it just felt very saturated. So I moved up to San Francisco with my musician boyfriend. So my first kind of professional jobs were photographing band photos, people that, were in my boyfriend's circle, which led to editorial photography. I had also, while I backtracking just a little bit, when I was in photography school, I studied photojournalism, and I had a real love for that, but I didn't love the idea of photographing the news so much. I liked the storytelling aspect. So I'm in San Francisco, and I started getting work for magazines, photographing some more famous musicians. I did the still photography for David Grisman and Jerry Garcia's music video. And so I was having a lot of fun. But I was doing some work for some of the local newspapers, tabloids, that kind of thing. But even though I was having some success, it was difficult to make ends meet. San Francisco is a pretty expensive city. And so as much success as I was having financially, I wasn't really having a lot of success.
And was it sort of unpredictable when you're going to get a gig? Or
yeah, you're at the mercy of, people hiring you, which has always been the case with being a photographer. But it was unreliable. So I ended up taking kind of a part-time job at a local camera and film store. And from there, I met one of the customers came in, and she was a wedding photographer. She told me that she was looking for an employee. And I said, please take me with you. Because honestly, I never dealt with so much sexism as I did working in a camera store. It was crazy. Yeah. People would walk up to me and say, "Is there a man I can talk to?"
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Women and men would say this to me because they would just see this young girl, sitting behind the film counter and assume that I don't know. They just assumed I knew nothing, where I was the only photographer that was actually working and getting published in that store.
Gosh. Oh, goodness.
So the people were nice there, but I was ready to move on, and worked for a wedding photographer who became a mentor. That really became kind of the major focus of my business for almost 2 decades. I did wedding photography as sort of my main income source.
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it in the beginning. Well, most of it I enjoyed. It was California, again, just so many incredible, gorgeous venues, most of the weddings were outdoors or, at a vineyard or some place looking over the ocean. And so it was just like a way to get to see so many beautiful parts of California. And then also, people are usually looking their very best on their wedding day, lots of beautiful, wonderful couples. And financially, it was, pretty lucrative. So I really enjoyed it for a long time. But I joke that when I started, I was the age of the bride. And towards the end, I was getting closer to the grandmother. Definitely at least mother of the bride, but maybe grandmother. And so, I got to this point where, part of the reason it's such a high wedding photography costs a lot is because it is a high pressure job. There is no reshoots. It's a once in a lifetime. You got to get it right. And so it is a lot of pressure. And even though I had 20 years of experience, that pressure just never went away. I always had some angst and, just felt stressed at the beginning of every job. And I just I got to the age where I was like, you know what? I just don't want to chase after the bride running down the street. It's very physical, it's a long day. And so I had kind of skipped over a part here. I ended up making a sort of a spontaneous move from California to Syracuse, New York, where I had family, but I didn't know anyone else. And so the weddings were different here. Most people were getting married in a church. And this was like just a whole lot of, I guess what I'm trying to say is there was like a whole lot of different factors that were kind of leading me to the decision that I was done with weddings. And so I needed to make some changes. And that's when I really kind of became this well, there's another point that I kind of skipped over. Sorry, I'm jumping around. I did have after about a month of living here in Syracuse, I was a first-time homeowner, and it was December of 2007. And I, being from California, just was not aware. And I went to my sister's house and slipped on ice on just some small wooden steps. I did like a triple axel up in the air and landed on the side of my arm with full force, broke it into 5 pieces and had radial nerve damage, which left my arm limp because of the nerve damage. I couldn't use my hand, or I couldn't feel anything from my elbow down. And so I was basically disabled for almost a year. The nerve is the slowest healing part of the body. And there was no guarantee that my arm was going to work again. I just had to wait it out. So here I am in a new city, don't know anybody except for a few family members. We didn't grow up here, but everyone had kind of ended up here. and I couldn't work physically.
Oh my goodness.
So
And you have a new house.
yes, a new house that was completely empty because I had been a, renter of studio apartments in California.
And you were single?
I was single. Yeah, it was terrible. It was a very,
Long, long winter, I'm sure.
yeah, it was, a long couple years because even once I was kind of physically recovered, I still had the task of like building up a business. In my recovery, I hadn't met anybody. I was just here at home recuperating or at physical therapy or with my family. So it took quite a few years for me to build up my business. And I, of course, went to weddings right away because that was what I had been doing. But I just, like I had talked about before, was kind of becoming aware that I was done with that. So then I just started doing anything and everything because I just needed to start earning again. I had lost all my savings. I had gone into debt because of medical bills and the cost of a home, that I wasn't really aware of. And so, so I was doing babies and families and some weddings, and I was doing interiors, and I was doing headshots and pet photos and like literally anything and everything. And I love taking pictures. Like I do, anytime I'm photographing, I'm a happy camper. But what I don't love is I don't love doing sales. I don't love trying to find people to hire me over and over and over again. And then when you do all this different type of photography, you need different administrative, like you need a different contract for a wedding than you do for a baby photo. Or so there's all like every time it's like, yeah, I can do that. But then I found, and in doing that, I'm not just taking that job. I'm also like reinventing all the administrative work on the back end.
And it was just you.
Yeah, it's always been just me. Yeah, so I just felt very scattered. I enjoyed my clients and my work, but I just was feeling sort of, I think scattered is like the best word, just kind of all over the place and not really feeling in control of what I was doing, just kind of at the mercy of the market. And in Syracuse, as you know, is like one of the snowiest cities in the country. And so the photography work here is very seasonal. It's a very short window where people get their family portraits and their headshots. And like typically, it's from June to October. And so you have to make all your money and storm away like nuts, like the squirrels around here, and get you through the winter.
So it wasn't a rhythm you liked.
Yeah, I don't like, exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And how did you then realize there was another way? I mean, I can imagine someone saying, well, I'm just going to have to do this because this is what everyone does. So how did you come up with an idea to develop a totally new approach to this?
Yeah, I had joined a mastermind group, and it was all women entrepreneurs. And I had started doing brand photography with women entrepreneurs, which I was becoming very passionate about. I had worked with a coach and kind of realized like, I need to start trimming some of this away. And I was searching for a way to feel, more content, more in charge, just kind of get a better grip on my career. And I realized that the creative women entrepreneurs were the women that I wanted to work with. And doing just kind of traditional brand photography, which is like, anything you might need for your website or your marketing materials, that kind of thing. I often found that the women wanted other people in their photos. And I would always say, sure, but logistically, it became very difficult. So it's hard enough to get two people scheduled these days, right?
I see. Yeah, yeah.
And so very often they would not be able to get a customer or a family member or a friend to pose or model. And so it would just end up being them and me because of scheduling. And so I just had this idea that I think, number one, the content demands that, with social media marketing and all the digital ways that people are marketing themselves, the demand for fresh photos is like ever increasing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one idea that was like I was becoming aware of. And then the second one was the people needing models but not being able to get access to them. And professional models are obviously expensive and out of most people's budgets. So I was in my Jen Liddy's mastermind group, and I said, guys, I've got this idea of monthly photo sessions with a group of women entrepreneurs, and you get your individual photos, but you also get access to each other, and you can, I can shoot over this person's head and, be photographing Annie. And so you see that you work well and play well with others, and it kind of helps your audience know, like, and trust you better. And it gives you fresh photos. All you got to do is show up. It gives you diversity. We're going to lots of different locations. And the whole room was like, oh my gosh, yes, sign me up. That sounds amazing. And so just that kind of enthusiastic response from a room full of women was like, that's all I needed to hear to know that this was an idea that could go somewhere.
So you were putting it out there, wondering out loud, and they said, oh boy, we would totally use that service.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so then the hard part came. I had to create it, It's like one thing to have an idea, but then to like put it into action is a whole nother thing. And luckily, I had my business coach, and she really helped me just get the ball rolling. And we did set up a beta session that sold out in 24 hours.
Oh my goodness, that must have been so exciting.
Yeah, and then we set up a second session the same day, and that sold out in another 24 hours. So
wow.
Again, like, just got all of this like positive feedback, like this is something that people want and need.
What was that like after sort of trudging through a couple different, variations of a professional photography career and not quite finding your footing, and then all of a sudden having this response?
It felt amazing, honestly. Like, it just felt like, wow, this is, and I kind of started searching the internet, like, is somebody doing this? And I couldn't find anybody that was doing what I was doing. And I was like, geez, I invented something. Like, this is a totally new business model. And so, I'm not good at like remembering the details, but I know I've seen several like articles and memes and social media posts, but they always talk about these people who had success later in life, right? Like, I think Vera Wang started her wedding business when she was 40, and Grandma Moses was in her 80s when she became a painter. And like, seeing that kind of information is very inspiring in a culture where everything is focused on the youth. And so I was like, I hope I'm one of those people.
It's sort of a late bloomer.
Yeah. And I had always identified as a late bloomer, but yeah, so maybe this is just another phase of my late blooming.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Totally get that. And it's, I think some people just are. And,
Mm-hmm.
using your experience and trying different things and it not
Yeah.
quite exactly fitting. Like it's kind of good enough,
Mm-hmm.
but there's more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think all those experiences that I did have, they all serve me, right? So
Hmm.
like being a wedding photographer, you have to wrangle wedding groups, right? You have to do the family portraits and you have to do the bridal party. And so I'm very comfortable kind of bossing people around, like you get over there and you get over here. So I do some of the, with the group photo membership, I'm comfortable with that group setting.
What's the
Um,
feeling like when you're getting your people together I know sometimes you use bakeries, you use different
mhm.
beautiful places. What's the actual like vibe like?
It's a good vibe. Like it's funny, like, for me, it's all about the photography, right? But like one of my members said, like, it's almost like the photography is a bonus.
Aha.
So that's like a whole nother element that when I was putting this together, I hadn't really quite realized, but like we're all want community, right?
Hmm.
And when you get a group of women together, we talk shop and we vent and we brainstorm and,
It sounds like a sharing, a back and forth
mhm.
kind of feel.
Yeah. So, while you're waiting for your turn to get your picture taken, there's conversations going on the sideline of exchanging ideas and resources and, boosting each other up and consoling each other and, you know, relating to the difficulty of being an entrepreneur, all these things,
Is there
celebrating
accountability
victories.
too? Like, did you ever, follow up on the blah, blah, blah? Is there a sense that,
I would imagine so.
hmm
Yeah, people are always like, and then, these relationships are also turning into friendships, right?
mm,
Like they're going beyond just talking to each other at the group photo. They're texting each other, interacting on social media. So yeah,
it's a bit of a support group
it really is. Yeah.
with beautiful photos?
Hmm.
Mm.
It's it's just I'm so proud of this group and this experience. It's now been 4 years. This summer will be our fourth anniversary with this business model. We survived and actually grew amazingly during the pandemic.
That is quite amazing,
Yeah, because
actually.
I was devastated when the pandemic happened. I thought, oh my gosh, everything I've worked so hard for is going to just disappear. But we actually grew in the summer of 2020.
How has this new business model over the past 4 years changed your life?
It has just changed me, I don't know, so many ways. Like, number one, it gave me reliable income throughout the year, right? So we are doing photo sessions all year round. People, when they sign up, they're committing to a year.
Hmm.
Um, so it takes away that kind of feast or famine income cycle that I was so used to with
Hmm.
all the other business models I had based my photography on. And it's given me community, it's given me friendships, it's given me confidence, and a lot of fun and adventure.
Mm.
We've done some travel adventures as a group. This summer we're going to Maine.
All
Um,
together?
yeah,
Oh my goodness, this is so fun.
it is so fun.
It
Yeah,
just like, I mean, I'm certainly not a professional in this area, but I have never heard of this before.
yeah. It's quite unique. Um,
Are you, eh, how shall I say this? Are you able to really appreciate what you've done here?
um, yeah, I feel like I am starting to like. I think it's really easy to kind of keep your eye on the next thing coming up, right? And or think about the things in the past, and it's hard to stay in the present. But I feel like during the pandemic, when, we took a couple of months off as mandated, and I kind of had an aha moment for myself where I was like, okay, I was fearful. I was afraid of, we know so much more now, but like back then people were dying, and I was like, okay, this could be it. Like, if I die of COVID or, something else, like, I need to really just be enjoying the moment.
Aha.
And
No regrets.
Yeah, just appreciate what's going on right here and right now. Like, yes, I still have goals, but I'm so thankful for my home and thankful that, I have this business. And so I think that has carried into this group where we just had a photo session yesterday, and I don't do it every time, but like I brought a picnic for everybody to enjoy afterwards. And so we could just kind of, once we were done with the photos, we just sat around and caught up and got to enjoy each other's company and take in the beautiful scenery. We were at in 850 acres of private camp with a lake in the middle of it.
Oh,
yeah.
and the weather's been so beautiful. There's such beautiful places in upstate New York.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
And that's part of the fun too, is like finding the new locations.
And that's something you do?
That is, yeah.
You research new locations. There's some really interesting places to go, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that part has given me just, a lot of control in the creative process. I'm kind of mandating where we're taking the pictures. And so I'm always happy with the location.
Right. And they meet you there. Is that how it goes?
Yep.
And then you do I see. There's so many levels
Yes.
of why this works so well.
It really, yeah.
And so do you bring new people into this group? How does that work?
So when they sign up, it's for a year. And so we've had people, that have joined for a year and then they've moved on, whether it was economics or whatever the reasoning, maybe somebody was having a baby and someone was changing to a different career, that kind of thing. But I would say about 50% of my members have renewed since they've joined. Like they just, I have people that are going to be going into their 4th year. So there is always room for somebody new to come in, and then a lot of people stay. And so kind of depending on where I'm at with the numbers, I offer more or less photo sessions a month just to, it would be too many people to show up at one photo session. So I try to give them different options to choose from.
Wow. I just love, this is such a terrible expression. Talk about thinking outside the box. I mean, you really created something that is just so perfect for you in so many ways. It just works really well for you.
Yes.
Might not work well for other people, but you're able to bring it together for many different reasons. And it sounds like you love this so much. I'm sure that they, your customers really pick up on that and enjoy it.
Yes. Another thing that we didn't talk about is it's just so rewarding to work with the same people over and over. Like, in the past, people would get their photo taken once a year, maybe once every couple years. And there's just an evolution that happens when you start showing up for monthly photo sessions. Like, you have the chance to update if you're pivoting or offering something new or have products, if you've changed your hair color, if you've gained weight or lost weight, like you've always got fresh photos. And there's just a trust factor that happens. And it takes a lot of pressure off the photo session because you've got the next month. Whereas if you're just doing one photo a year, it's got to be perfect, right? You're like, and it's just a lot of pressure for the person, which then sometimes can kind of hurt the vibe of the photo session.
I can imagine that. Yeah,
Right?
having gotten my picture taken, there is this. I bet I look tired today, or my
Yeah.
hair has a weird colic.
Right.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Alice, where can people find out more about this fantastic invention of
Wow,
yours?
thank you.
It's just for so many. I mean, there's because I know about, some brain science, I know about a lot of pieces of healthy aging, and probably without meaning to, you are checking off so many of the things that promote healthy aging and longevity. And
Yeah, I'm happy to hear
yeah,
that.
yeah. Where can
Yeah.
people find you?
Well, I've got 2 websites. So the first one, if somebody is local here in Syracuse and is interested in being a member, the website is lovingmycompany.com.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a photographer or know a photographer, pretty much anywhere outside of Syracuse, I'm launching a new training program for other photographers. I've got my first photographer signed up from the Boulder, Denver area. So I'm going to be training her on how to create her own membership. And so she can just push the easy button.
All the things you wish someone would have told you.
Exactly. Yeah. All those years that I, spent figuring it out, I'm going to just pass it on. Because I feel like really every town could use one of these groups. So if you're interested in the training, that's lovingmyphotocompany.com.
Aha. And are you active on social?
I am. I have Loving My Company and on Instagram, as well as Alice G. Patterson on Instagram. And that's G as in girl.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So great. Well, it's been a pleasure to finally speak with you, Alice.
I know. I'm so appreciative. Thank you.
You were sort of yes, tentative would be a good.
Yes.
But I was, because I know you and because you've shot my photos, I just so admire your style, your aesthetic, and just, who you are and how you do your work. And you really define this whole zestful aging idea.
You.
So that's why I was dogged in pursuing you.
I'm so appreciative and thankful.
People love working with you. And so I just want to say congratulations. And I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. There's a theme of resilience here. You certainly had to overcome many things, and also taking chances, taking risks.
Yeah.
And that's certainly the theme of the show. So best of luck. And thanks again for visiting with me.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share it with some of your friends. If you think decluttering could help you feel better and you could use a little assistance with that, check out the online course I've developed with professional organizer and designer Carrie Luderin. It's called Too Much Stuff. And Too Much Stuff is different from other courses or articles or guidance you may have used up. We give you clear steps to deal with the clutter and the tools to help you face the overwhelming feelings and the emotions that come up when we're going through our clutter. And a lot of those emotions are just feeling anxious or guilty or just basically flooded with a lot of different confusing feelings. The course is really practical. It's realistic. The lessons are short and punchy, and they're really manageable. We're not trying to set you up for some long exploratory, super in-depth, burdensome experience. We want something really helpful for you right now. We all need help with our anxiety. So being surrounded by more calm and less chaos can really help. So now's a good time to clear out the clutter so we can focus on what's really important in our lives. So find out more at zestfulaging.com. You'll see more about this under the web courses tab. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email at zestfulaging@gmail.com. Thanks so much. And stay tuned next week for another interview with a fascinating and inspiring guest.